This is Corrections Unlocked.
What's up, guys? I'm Alex Duran. Welcome to Corrections Unlocked. Here at Corrections Unlocked, we share knowledge, we educate officers, and we inspire growth so we can be the best version of ourselves working inside the walls. On today's episode, we're going to talk about one topic. It's Correctional Officer Burnout. One of the reasons why I want to talk about Correctional Officer Burnout is that's something that newer officers with a few years in the department are experiencing more and more every day. So the first question is, what is Correctional Officer Burnout? Correctional Officer Burnout to me is when you gave up, when you have no drive, when you're constantly being negative about everything in the department and about yourself. You're burnt out of your career, you're burnt out of where you're working, and you're burnt out of what you're doing. And we're seeing that more and more, not only with our seasoned officers, but now with officers with 2-3 months in the department. Why? Why are officers with 2-3 months in the department experiencing correctional officer burnout? You know, some of us seasoned cops are like, what the fuck is going on? You have no idea. You have no idea what you're going to be seeing or experiencing. You haven't been there. And I think the reason why they're going through these challenges is they're constantly feeling defeated with what they're doing. They're constantly feeling defeated with trying to be accepted. So if you're a newer officer and you went through the academy and you went to your prison and you're working and you kind of hit a plateau with, I'm not learning, everybody's being negative, I don't really understand what I'm doing, that's fine. We've all been there. We've all gone through that. The question you need to ask yourself is, why am I letting another officer get the best of me? Why am I letting his words affect me when they don't mean anything? It's one ear out the other. That's the way it should be. When you're letting an officer tell you something and you're dwelling on it, you're sitting on it, and you're letting it affect you not only at work but at home because he said something negative to you, you've already lost. And there's no reason to let somebody affect you at that level, period. So if you've been around officers or areas where it's just completely negative and you're questioning yourself because of what somebody said to you, don't let it affect you. It doesn't mean shit. One ear out the other, because where you're at in your career and the potential of where you could be is endless. So don't let somebody's words, just because they gave up on what they want to do, affect you as an officer, affect you as a person. So you got to find drive. You got to find drive in yourself, and you're going to see a lot of negative and a lot of positive. Take the good and implement that as best you can as an officer. Take the bad and realize that's what I don't want to do. Realize that's what's going to get me in trouble. And make yourself. You need to surround yourself with people you want to be like. You want to be a sergeant, you want to be a counselor, or maybe you want to be that badass cop on the yard. Whatever it is you want to do, put yourself around that person. The people you put yourself around are the people you're going to act like, the people you're going to be like. Now, with the officers with a little bit more time in, you got 5, 6, 7 years and you plateaued. You're like, I know everything about the prison. I know all the facilities, the yard. I'm kind of done of what I'm doing. I don't see any purpose, any drive. It's the same shit every day. You need to ask yourself, why? Why do I feel that way? What can I do to change? What can I do tomorrow to be a better officer, a better person? You have a lot of experience. You could be helping out newer officers, and you're doing nothing about it but complaining. And you're plateauing when you still have a lot of time to do. If you're at a point where you can be a supervisor and take a test and promote, start studying for it, put yourself out there. You're always going to have to put yourself in an uncomfortable position to grow. With anything you do in life, you're always going to have to think outside the box, take that step, and push yourself for change. You're at that point to where now's the time to do it. You're at that point to where you probably see supervisors that are doing things not the right way or things that can be done probably a better way. That's you. That's where you come in and you make that change. You got to go take a test. You got to go interview. You got to know policy. It's all shit we can do. We're not the brightest people. We can all do this line of work. It's figuring out what you need and the tools you need to achieve what you want to do. So put yourself around these supervisors and these officers that you want to be like. Now, if you're 10, 15 years in the department, you know a lot. You have a lot of knowledge. You've seen a lot of shit, good and bad. And you've seen a lot of changes, implement stuff that is probably crazy, but we're doing it. Regardless, at the end of the day, we're getting shit done. So you're probably disgruntled. You're probably there for the paycheck, which is fine. My question to you is, what are you doing to help out officers? What are you doing to benefit them? You're sitting there with all this knowledge and experience, and you know how to be a solid officer. You know how the prison system works. You know how to deal with violent inmates with just talking and communicating. Are you teaching these officers anything with your knowledge and experience? Are you showing them how to deal with these situations? It starts with you guys because you have more knowledge than just about anybody else, any other trainer, because you're the ones working the line. You're the ones still doing this day to day. What are you doing to show these officers the right way to do stuff? You have so much experience just sitting there when you could be helping out a newer officer. And 10, 15 years from now, he's going to remember that. And he's going to look back on that. And he's probably going to do the same thing you did to him. And he's going to help out newer officers. And it just trickles down and carries on. Those are the kind of things that I feel you should be doing. We should be doing. We can complain about things all day long. It doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, we're going to get shit done. So we're going to get burnt out. And it's going to come in waves. You're going to be positive, you're going to be good, and then a year later, you're going to just kind of plateau. So for me, every 2-3 years, I need to do something different. Whether it's me trying to promote, whether it's me taking on a new challenge, whether it's me doing something different outside of work. I have to keep my mind busy. That's how I stay positive, that's how I stay productive, and that's how I keep moving forward. So if you're a new officer and you're not understanding yourself yet, don't get discouraged. There's a lot of opportunity for you to grow, but don't get stuck listening to what people are saying that's negative. Don't get stuck sitting there questioning yourself just because somebody said something to you. It ain't worth it. I've been through that. When I worked in the jails as a kid, I got held over to an area, a max facility area, where all the OGs worked. And I walked in happy-go-lucky because I was proud to be an officer. And I tried to walk up and shake this officer's hand. And he looked at me up and down, pretty much said, "Fuck you," with his eyes, and walked away. And that has stuck with me for 12, 13 years. Why? I let that affect me for a long time. And the question I ask myself is why? That dude doesn't mean shit. He's just an officer that probably hates himself or hates his life, whatever it is he's dealing with. And he put that on me because he's negative. I don't like negativity, and all I try to do is be positive as much as I can at work. If I don't know you and you're new, I'll walk up to you and ask you how your day is going, because that's what I wanted to implement in the department. That's what I wanted to put myself around. So if you're working around people in your area that aren't that way, don't get discouraged. One ear out the other. Fuck them. Do you. The thing about the department is there's only one you, and it only takes one person to make change. Be that change. Don't be stuck on what somebody said because they're not happy with where they are. You could be so much better than that person, that individual, if you just stick here and go to work. Don't let stupid shit get the best of you. One thing I want to ask, and I ask this because I see it a lot, is how are you carrying yourself at work? What are you doing right now to be a better version of yourself tomorrow? Are you happy with where you are in the department? Are you happy with yourself in general, with where you are in life? What can you do tomorrow to change? Can you maybe be physically better? Can you take on a workout routine and try to lose a few pounds or gain a few pounds of muscle if you're a skinny guy and you need to fucking put on some size? How do you carry yourself at work with your uniform? Do you take your stuff to the dry cleaners? Do you iron your uniforms? Do you get a haircut? Do you get your hair done? These all sound like stupid things, I know. But if you think about it, if you do these things that make you feel good about yourself a day, a week, a month, it makes it so much easier to carry yourself when you're in a negative environment. And when you do that, you're automatically in a positive atmosphere because you feel good about yourself. You think you look good. You probably do. Maybe you don't. I don't know. But at least you feel that way, you know. And feeling that way inside makes it so much better when you go to work in a negative environment. And for instance, I'm just going to throw this out there because I see it a lot. If I'm working with you and we're officers and I walk into a building and I say, hey, man, how's your day going? What's going on today? Everything good? It's going to be a good day regardless of what happens. We're going to get shit done. You got food? Do you need anything? Let me flip it around. I walk into the building and I say, fuck this fucking place. I don't want to fucking be here. I'm tired. I hate this fucking yard. How's that going to make you feel? You're probably going to agree with me and start talking shit, which you probably shouldn't do. But you're already going to start thinking in a negative way. And that's a fucked up thing to do. We don't need to be that way, especially when we're working in a prison. So I ask you to challenge yourself. What can you do to be positive? What can you do to be a better version of yourself right now? Can you try to learn policy on where you work? Can you try to be more physically fit and start walking, start running, take a workout routine so that way you have more energy throughout the day? Little things like this is what makes a big difference in yourself and what challenges you to grow. Correctional officer burnout is a big deal. Even if you're listening to this and you don't feel like you're going through it, you probably are or you probably will. So when you hit that plateau and you gave up and you're being negative, that's correctional officer burnout. And you need to figure out how to get out of it. So think about that. Think about what you can do for change with where you're at in your career. Whether you're 2 months in the department, whether you're 2 years in the department, there's always room for growth. Now, if you're 2-3 years in the department and you gave up, you're barely making enough money and you're barely getting by. You have a lot of increases in the department. You're going to be making a whole lot more money. You're going to be working in a whole lot better area, whether you're an officer or supervisor. With seniority, things get better, things get easier. That's always going to be coming for you every day you go to work. You accumulate time, you accumulate seniority. If you don't want to be an officer, don't be. Promote. Branch out. There's things in the department, it's endless. And honestly, you can be anything in the department if you really just buckle down and studied and put your mind to it. You want to be a counselor? Put yourself around counselors. Go talk to one or two of them and gain their knowledge. That's what it's all about. You want to be a supervisor? Don't put yourself around Joe Blow over there that doesn't give a shit. Don't do that. Go put yourself around the supervisor that you want to be, that carries himself well, that she carries herself well, that's positive, that knows policy, that you know when shit hits the fan, they're going to back you the fuck up, whether it's on paper or in person. That's what you need to do. So put yourself around those people. I challenge you. It's going to be uncomfortable. You're not going to want to do it. You're going to feel out of place. Feeling out of place and being uncomfortable is where you need to feel comfortable. That's how you grow. That's how you make change. So if you're dealing with correctional officer burnout, don't feel defeated. If you have 2 years in the department and you're experiencing that, I mean, people will probably make fun of you, but that shit's real. If you have 5 years in the department and you're experiencing the same thing, remember you're at that point in your career where you can make change. You can really grow. So I ask you to challenge yourself. And if you're looking at this and you have a lot of time in the department, realize how much knowledge is sitting here and you're not showing all these officers you're walking by every day. Little things you can be doing, tips you can be giving them on how to deal with inmates, how to deal with officers, how to deal with supervisors is going to benefit them every day of their career. And only somebody like you knows that because you've seen all the change. So I ask you to be positive. I ask you to see what you can do to grow to be a better person. That's all I got, guys, on Correctional Officer Burnout. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, reach out to correctionsunlocked@gmail.com. If this is something you think that could benefit you, give it a like, give it a thumbs up. Thank you guys.